Greetings, everyone. We know that most people are awaiting the outcome of the court judgment of the Zimbabwe exemption permit. We thought it is necessary that we try and draw some parallels between the Zimbabwean exemption permits and the Angolan special permits. You will know that Angolans were allowed to apply for a special permit. So let's look into the conditions. We get our notes from the Department of Home Affairs on the 5th of August 2021. The Department of Home Affairs published this notice. Headline says, the Department of Home Affairs invites qualifying holders of Angolan special dispensation permits to apply for the Angolan exemption permit. So then the department goes on in this notice, which was issued on the 5th of August 2021. The Department of Home Affairs is inviting qualifying Angolan nationals to apply for the Angolan exemption permit. People falling into the following categories are invited to apply. A. Angolans who were issued with the Angolan secession permit but did not apply for the Angolan special permit. We will discuss later on some other time what the Angolan secession permit was. And then B. Angolians who were issued with the Angolan special permit. C. All Angolan refugees or asylum seekers who were issued with Section 24 or Section 22 permits before 31 August 2013. This being the date when the Tripartite Commission agreement was signed, marking the end of the civil war in Angola. The spouses and children of the affected Angolan nationals will be allowed to apply for mainstream visas or permits after the main member has obtained his or her exemption permit. So let's note the difference here. The holder of the Angolan secession permit or the holder of an Angolan special permit was asked to apply for an Angolan exemption permit. We need to note that. Then their dependents, that is the spouses and children, were then allowed to apply for the main visa. Once the main applicant has obtained the exemption permit. So the mainstream visas for the Angolan nationals, it was for the dependents who were holders of the Angolan secession permit, Angolan special permit, because they were asked in 2021 to apply for an Angolan exemption permit. Then the mainstream visa were for their dependents. Then the department was focusing that about 5,000 Angolans could qualify. It said the requirements to apply was proof of refugee or asylum seeker permit issued before 31 August 2013, a copy of Angolan secession permit or Angolan special permit, Angolan passport valid for more than 12 months on date of application, a South African police report which the department will obtain on behalf of the applicant, and then any other information. But this was issued by Sia Khoza, is the spokesperson for the Minister of Home Affairs. This was, as I said, 5th August 2021. But I want to get to an article which was issued on 17 August 2021 under the headline Angola Special Permit Update. It deals with the same issues that I've just read, who qualifies to apply. But of more interest is this section. It says, I quote, the Angolan exemption permits will be issued with the permanent residence and they will not have an expiry date. The Minister of Home Affairs has in the past granted the rights of permanent residence for a specified period of time. This time around, permanent residence will be granted indefinitely, which will allow permit holders, when granted, to apply for identity documents, close quote. Right. So the holders of the Zimbabwe exemption permits are asked to apply for mainstream visa, because it is argued that you cannot move from an exemption permit to a permanent residence permit. In the case of the Angolians, the holders of the Angolan cessation permit and the Angolan special permit were asked to apply for the Angolan exemption permit, which had no expiry date. In other words, which was a permanent residence. Let me read for the last time here. Quote, the Angolan exemption permits will be issued with permanent residence and will not have an expiry date. The Minister of Home Affairs has in the past granted the rights of permanent residence for a specified period of time. This time around, permanent residence will be granted indefinitely, which will allow permit holders, when granted, to apply for identity documents, close quote. So the identity document will state that the holder of that identity document is born in Angola, or it was meant to state born in Angola, but permanently resident in South Africa. Now, the argument with respect to the holders of Zimbabwe exemption permits is that you cannot move from an exemption permit to permanent residence. You need to go through the mainstream visas. In the case of the Angolians, only the dependents of the main applicant were asked to apply for mainstream visas, right? For them to qualify, if you go through mainstream visas, as is argued on the holders of the Zimbabwe exemption permits, you then qualify for a permanent residence, which of course will take time. But the holders of those two Angolan permits who were asked to apply for the Angolan exemption permit, that Angolan exemption permit was to come with, it's important to underline the word with, permanent residence. And the holder will then apply for an identity document. So if the argument is that a holder of a Zimbabwe exemption permit, because the holder of an exemption permit, or for one to have applied for a Zimbabwe exemption permit, one needed to have firstly applied for Documentation Zimbabwe Project DZP, which closed down on the 31st of December 2014. And then it should have been a holder of the Zimbabwe Special Permit, which closed down on the 31st of December 2017. Now, a holder of the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit, because you needed to have those two for you to be able to apply for Zimbabwe Exemption Permit. It is then being argued that a holder of the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit cannot apply for a permanent residence. For such to happen, it is argued that one has to apply firstly for a mainstream visa. There are about 17 or so. For mainstream visa, you go through that process, which will then lead you to permanent residence. But the Angolians, they did their exemption, Angolan exemption permit in 2021. It was announced that it was going to come with the permanent residence. I must confess that I've not been in touch with the Angolan nationals to check if indeed this was issued. But I've referred you to a statement or a notice that was issued by the Department of Home Affairs, the spokesperson of the Minister, Sia Khoza, and David Klavane, who is the media manager for the Department of Home Affairs, issued this, and all inquiries were referred to them. Their cell phone numbers are there for people who had wanted to get clarity. So it was issued on the 5th of August 2021. So you can check it out. Then there's a statement which I concluded with. You can just type Angola Special Permit Update. It was issued on the 17th of August 2021. Now, it's important to note this because this is being issued statement on the Angolans on the 5th of August 2021. Then on the 25th of November 2021, same year, the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit holders were told then to apply for mainstream visas. While the notice by the Department of Home Affairs here does not speak about the permanent residence. I have to make this distinction so that I don't mislead. If you read the department statement issued on the 5th of August 2021, it does not speak about permanent residence. We only find the permanent residence in an article titled Angola Special Permit Update issued on 17th August 2021. If you have questions, please write in the comment section. Next, we will look into the documentation of Mozambican nationals in South Africa. So we thought it was necessary that we look into the Angolians versus Zimbabwe Exemption Permit holders. We'll then look into the Mozambicans. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Otherwise, have a great day. Goodbye.